What a past few months it's been for the uranium industry. I can honestly tell you that the market fundamentals are the most positive experience in living memory for the points that Siobhan touched on earlier in her presentation. I've just flown in from the US, having met with many other CEOs of advanced uranium development projects, and the market signals are there. To see that we're seeing that dovetails with the overwhelmingly optimistic sentiment expressed at the World Nuclear Fuel Conference in The Hague a few weeks ago, followed up by Cameco's very positive quarterly results of last week. Yikes. Sorry, I've got a... Sorry, we're a bit stuck here. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to my favourite slide. It was such an exciting time when I entered the industry back in 06, 07. The uranium price was like a freight train, moving dollars a week, peaking at 140 US per pound and driving equity prices through the roof, as can be seen on this slide. It really shows spot and term prices. Post-Fukushima, there was a slowdown in the market as a lot of excess inventory was given back to the market, which directly influenced the spot market and facilitated what's called the carry trade, which competed with primary production, effectively suppressing the price. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to say that that issue is no longer a concern. Mobile inventories are far lower than what they were in the early 2000s. Inventories by utilities, held by utilities, are lower, and they need to be replenished. This excess inventory has been soaked up, particularly in recent years, and that's really surprised the industry. Take, for example, the rapid growing demand for uranium, as supported by government policy worldwide, as new targets are being set to achieve net zero carbon emissions. Canada, China, the US, the UK are among 32 countries using net zero nuclear power today. We've also got the lifetime of old reactors being extended, particularly in the US, where the lifetime has moved from 40 years to 60 years, and now it's being touted that 80 years that wasn't expected to be actually in producing uranium, nuclear power. We've also had the emergence of new physical uranium funds like the Sprott Commodity Trust. We've had Yellowcake, and I'm aware of two other new funds about to enter the market that will further soak up excess inventory. And then, of course, we've got the geopolitical issues. I mean, even before Russia invaded Ukraine, new supply was needed. The invasion has highlighted that geopolitical uncertainty and that need for energy security is a priority. And then, of course, we've got the restart of the Japanese fleet, that vast nuclear fleet that's coming back on stream. So the tide has turned. In fact, utilities are more concerned these days about the lack of inventory and the lack of new supply to meet that gap to growing demand. Where is that new supply going to come from? And this is the perfect timing for proven restart projects such as Honeymoon. We're seeing that the market pricing is responding, particularly in the term contracts. We're seeing a lot more activity. Last month in April, we hosted 2 international fuel buyer delegations to Honeymoon. They were there for due diligence. We're in constant off-market, on-market discussions with utilities, seeking to get the best contractual prices we can. We thoroughly believe in the industry that there's going to be a pinch point between now and the next 3 years where it's likely to give an overreaction to price, in commodity price, because there's simply not enough new uranium supply. Last year, 114 million pounds was contracted. This year, already year to date, 99 to 100 million pounds has been contracted. It flows that the best deals that a new uranium producer can enter into in a rising market is to enter into market-related contracts with a strong floor and a high ceiling. Cameco's quarterly announcement just made reference that the floors are now 45 to 50 US per pound, ceilings at around 75 to 80 US per pound. We've been preparing and working hard for this moment. We're entering a new market where proven restart projects such as Honeymoon are really going to shine. Boss Energy's 100% owned Honeymoon uranium project is going to be South Australia's third operating uranium mine, together with Olympic Dam and the Heathgate operation. Honeymoon is fully permitted, low-cost restart project that previously produced and exported around the world before being placed in care and maintenance back in 2014 due to low uranium prices. Since we acquired the project in December 15, we've been steadily progressing the project such that we're ready for this turn in the commodity cycle that's taking place. We've advanced Honeymoon to capitalise upon its first mover advantage. And there on the slide you can see what sets us apart. We're fully funded. We've got $100 million in cash, £1.25 million of physical uranium, and absolutely zero debt. The project itself is 100% owned. We've got significant upside to further mine life extensions and increasing our production cycle. We're fully permitted. All our native title agreements are in place, our environmental agreements are in place, and we've got a £3.3 million per annum export permit that's federal government endorsed. What that signifies is that all your other permits are in good working order. The platform's set. We are well positioned to produce a healthy cash flow and build a strong multi-asset group going forward. This is the team to take you forward on the board of directors. We've got a significant team with uranium expertise. Wyatt Buck, a standout individual. He was the GM for Cameco's flagship mines, McArthur River and Key Lake, before being sort of headhunted by Paladin to see their flagship mine, Langer Heinrich, through its commissioning to reach nameplate. Bryn Jones, chemical engineer with vast formative years of his career, building his experience with in situ recovery and ion exchange, the method of mining that we're adopting. Jan Honeyman, very experienced with HR around the world. In addition, we've got a very strong management backing that board. Sashi Davies, one of the world's top 5 uranium producers. We've got a very competent hydrogeologist. We've got the processing plant operators. Because of that first mover advantage, we've been able to go out and really seize some of the best and remaining uranium expertise that's available. Because the past 10 years with low uranium prices, that talent's been taken out of the industry. We're also self-performing our construction. So rather than the typical EPCM model that commands a 25%, 30% extra cost, we've actually developed the team, the engineers, to take care of our own destiny. We're doing our own engineering, our own procurement, our own contracting. And we're doing that by employing our own people who are most closely aligned with company values and objectives. They're gaining knowledge and familiarity of the project through the construction phase such that it can evolve into the operations. We personally know our people and we've worked with them for many years. Honeymoon itself, well, we're financed through to production. We've got a very strong balance sheet. As mentioned, that $100 million in cash, zero debt. The physical inventory that we purchased back in March 21 has doubled in value to $100 million and is providing us with great negotiating strength. We deliberately raised our project funding through equity finance in March last year because had we gone to the debt markets, that debt financing would have had to have been underpinned by actual contracts. Why would we enter into contracts 18 to 12 months ago when the prices were low? Our strategy has been to hold out for contracting to the prices that we're now beginning to see. So it's worked. The strategy is actually working. As you can see, these are the steps that we've taken since we acquired the project from December 15 until now. But uranium projects, they take on average 8 to 10 years from first green roots, grassroots sort of discovery to actually get permitted, and that's conservative. So these are the steps we've actually taken since December 15. We've technically advanced the project, we've increased the JORC resource, we've taken care of permitting relationships, and all the meanwhile we've built further close relationships with our key buyers. We've increased the production throughput to 2.45 million pounds per annum, and we've become a global low-cost producer. Our cash costs are sub 20 US per pound, our all-in cost at 32 US per pound. The current spot price is 53 US per pound, so we're profitable as is. In June last year, we announced our final investment decision with the view of going into production at fourth quarter this year, and we're on track to actually do that. Uranium supply fundamentally is driven from price and timing, and that's becoming less certain these days. Most projects today require what's deemed to be the industry norm of 80 US per pound to incentivise production. We are clearly ahead of that curve. To see the Honeymoon project, we're on time, we're on budget, or our major long lead items have been issued, all our orders for critical equipment placed. We've issued 123 procurement packages. Construction of the wellfield is well ahead of schedule. Our water treatment plant's been delivered to site last week and currently being connected. Preparatory works, the solvent extraction columns are coming out. Ion exchange columns start getting delivered in October. In August, and we've got substations and transformers have all been awarded. We've also opened up the Adelaide office, and again, personnel-wise, we've recruited our top superintendents and managers that's required. In terms of the 4 key areas of the mine, we're just focused, this is what we're doing for the construction. So over $170 million was spent on the plant back in 2011. We've got our own connection to the power to the grid of Broken Hill. We're about 70 kilometres northwest of Broken Hill. But there you can see the 4 areas. So we're focused on the actual wellfield development that's introducing new wellfield technology such that we can enhance and get a better tenure of uranium from the wellfield. We've also got the water treatment plant, which we're doubling in size. So the water treatment plant acts as like a desalination plant, removing the impurities of salt and gypsum from the groundwater such that we've got a better method of our lixiviant through the actual wellfield. We're also exchanging the solvent extraction process, the front end of the plant for the ion exchange type methodology that we're using. And finally, we're introducing 2 new high-temperature kilns that can calcine the product to produce that more superior U308 product that's required by utilities worldwide. In terms of in situ recovery, it accounts for 60% of the world's supply of uranium. All the operations in Kazakhstan use this method. It's what's used also extensively throughout North America, particularly in the Wyoming province. This is the cheapest form of mining, and that's why we're adopting the same process. Barren leach solution is effectively injected through the uranium-hosted ore body to recover that high-grade solution that's then pumped to the surface and delivered to the IX columns. But pictures tell 1,000 words, so I'll let you do the math, but here's just a couple of pictures of the progress that we're making on site. Here's a well field. 86 of the 86 wells have actually been drilled and cased. This will account for the first 3 years of production. We're going to flush the well fields in June. Again, that's ahead of schedule. You've also got the gypsum pond that's been developed. Some 65,000 tonnes of earth was removed to produce that. And I took a photo 2 weeks ago just of the pond lining going in. That will account for 5-year holding for the actual gypsum. The ion exchange columns, you can see there, well, that's the solvent extraction being removed, so the solvent extraction columns are being taken out. We're going to use that same steel structuring in place there to put the first 2 ion exchange columns in. That'll account for the first years of production for about 880,000 pounds. Another advantage of self-perform, well, we purchased that crane, 400-tonne crane. We actually worked out with the purchase and resale, it was cheaper to buy it than hire it, and there's no penalty rates, but there are only 5 in the country. So again, it shows the motivation to save shareholder money adopting that self-perform technique. Bird's eye view looking down, you can appreciate the height of that crane, about 14 stories in height. And then the ion exchange columns. Well, they're being fabricated overseas. They're ahead of schedule as well, and they're in good order to take first delivery in August of this year. In terms of the resource, we've got a JORC resource of 72 million pounds. We've grown that from 17 million pounds. The mining licence itself hosts 36 million pounds, of which the feasibility study is based upon. Outside of that sits 2 satellite domains called Jason's, the other one called Gould's Dam, which hosts another 36 million pounds. So we've got rigs going into those satellite domains in July. We're going to firm up those resources such that we can extend the mine life and look to increase the production output in addition to what we have on the actual feasibility study. Financial highlights, very strong EBITDA margin, 62%, IRR of 47%, and you can see again the low-cost producer that this project is. Cash costs again, sub 20 US per pound, into a market that we're going into at 54 base, but we're expecting term contracts way higher as we get closer and closer into production. Boss, with its first mover advantage, can sell into the market. We can generate cash, be a positive cash flow producer, and look to become a much bigger player in the uranium space through the exploration upside at Honeymoon and to fund further acquisitions. You've got the value of the feasibility study, the value of our physical inventory, all the meanwhile, the mine life extension possibilities, plus we've got exposure to the uranium price and looking at further efficiencies on our production process. The news flow is going to keep coming as we go forward. We have the strongest uranium market that we've seen since 2000. We have plenty to see, and that growing interest in uranium is taking place around the world. So there's a lot more interest coming into all the uranium projects on the ASX, and plenty of news flow to come out on Honeymoon. With the emphasis on security of supply, the fuel buyers want uranium from stable countries such as Australia, uranium-friendly, that can actually export the material with government support. There's simply insufficient supply coming on from new production, and that's what's making Boss so very attractive. So when you go forward and assess other uranium projects, whether it be greenfield or brownfield, in addition to the economic studies and the math behind it, keep asking yourselves 3 qualitative questions and their ability to really produce multiple shareholder returns. Which jurisdictions are they located in? Are they uranium friendly? Do they have the infrastructure to support uranium mining? Do they have access to experienced people? Remember, the past 10 years has really taken a lot of the talent out of the industry due to those low uranium prices. And what hurdles are required to jump over to get fully permitted? It's an exhaustive process. In fact, in Australia, uranium mining is the most heavily regulated form of mining that one can do. Do you have government support? Do you have local community support? I'm pleased to say that as well as delivering strong financial returns, Boss Energy satisfies all these important value-add questions, and as such, we believe that we're very well prepared for launching Honeymoon into the best uranium market in living memory. Thank you.